Hi guys, I'm Livy with Daisy Chain Principles. Welcome back. And today we're going to be going over a review of the curriculum I used for my two children in the 2023 through 2024 homeschool year. Now I use the same core curriculum for both of my children, so for simplicity's sake, I'm going to go over one subject at a time rather than one child or one grade at a time. So let's just jump right in. I'll get started with their reading curriculum. So my 9-year-old stopped in level 3 of All About Reading. My 7-year-old is in the middle of level 1 in All About Reading. Now, a couple of things. One, I do not worry about the kids finishing curriculum by the end of the school year. I also do not let them stop and then start a new one, leaving that previous book unfinished. Just because every time we've ever tried that, it ended up that we needed to go back and we needed the review of those last few weeks. It just doesn't work for our family to stop books and then start the next grade. They need all the material completed. So my daughter stopped in the middle of level 1, my son stopped in the middle of level 3, and we will simply resume exactly where we are in the books, just so I can be confident that they have no gaps, which is way more important to me. You'll find if you've watched my videos before that comprehension is my priority above all. I do not care what their education looks like on the outside or what their performance looks like to anyone else. I don't care what grades you could stick on their paper. I care that they understand the material. So that is why I do it that way. Now, as to why I chose All About Reading, we started this, I want to say three or 4 years ago for my son, because he was really struggling to learn to read. We tried how to read in 100 easy lessons. Then we tried The Good and the Beautiful, which was great until it wasn't, because it started picking up and going too fast for him. I feel like we tried a few just workbooks like from the local store, and he was just not retaining. And so I started doing some research, and there was amazing reviews for All About Reading, not only for struggling readers, but actually this curriculum was created specifically for children with dyslexia. So I started him when he was 6 or 7 years old on level 1, and it was a huge game changer for him. So I then committed to taking both of my children through all the levels. Now, he started in level 1, but I started my daughter in the pre-reader, which just teaches the alphabet. And so now she's in level 1. There is a total of 4 levels, 5 if you count the pre-reader. So I want all of them to go all the way through level 4 before we branch off into a more full language arts curriculum. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit about level 1. This goes from just basic phonics and knowing the alphabet and the sounds to actually creating words, and it goes really, really slowly through each sound. It is strictly mastery. Now, it also technically has spiral in it, just because you're building upon a concept, right? So you learn one sound or one principle in reading, and then you build upon it. So in a way, you're cycling back because you're always using what you've already learned, but really it is mastery. So what I mean by that is, like, they'll teach, 5 to 6 sounds, and then they'll have your child master it through practice sheets, through cutout games, through their readers, and they just really, really drill in every little principle they introduce for a few lessons before they introduce more. And I haven't been able to find another program that introduces reading this thoroughly and this slowly. I think that is what was really key for my son when he was overwhelmed with learning to read, is that it goes very slowly and gives them tons and tons of chances to practice the same principles before moving on, which is very rewarding and much less overwhelming for the student. Now, my son is in level 3, and they have a different character that follows them through the book. So this one has Melinda the monkey, and then there's the dog for level 1. And I will show you some examples of how advanced his reading is now. As a 9-year-old, he was definitely like a solid 8 years old before he was reading like fluently and easily. And now he's able to read this very comfortably aloud to me. So you can imagine that like level 4 is pretty advanced reading. So advanced that most people seem to actually skip level 4. I don't want to do that just because I am a parent that does not jump ship hardly ever with curriculum. I try to really look into the vision that the author has and get on board with it. People write curriculum the way that they do, beginning to end, for a reason. And so I'm a believer in trusting the process through to the end rather than pulling from several different curriculums. Every parent does it different. There's no right or wrong way. That is just my philosophy for homeschooling. So on to math. We have used math lessons for a living education for several years as well. This is a newer master book series by Angela Odell, and Master Books carries it. So here is level 1. This is what my daughter is almost finished with. And then level 3, my son is a little more than halfway through level 3. I wanted something that was very open and go, but not too repetitive and not too bland for the kids to be interested in. And I have found that this is a perfect in between. So let me show you a page or two out of level 1, what my 7-year-old has been working on. So there's just a lot of copying numbers, number recognition, counting by 1s, 5s, 10s, skip counting, addition, fractions, introduction to fractions, the days of the week, learning to tell the time. Scripture is incorporated into all the stories, and the purpose of all the stories in here is to show that math is for real life. So it follows the life of little Charlotte and Charlie. They are twins, and in this book they're in all the different levels, but in this particular level they are staying on a farm with their grandparents, and they're finding that they use math all the time to organize the seeds and organize the harvest and how they sell it, and calculating their profits from selling at the farmer's market and things like that. So Silas is being introduced to multiplication and division, fractions, how to use a thermostat and a thermometer, counting money. He's working on learning different measurements for in the kitchen. Here are a couple more good example pages if you want to pause it, just some review of telling time, and then practicing multiplication and division in a story problem. So I continue to be extremely happy with this. I am hoping that by the time my kids are in high school that Angela Odell will have math lessons for a living education through high school, because I'm just a really big fan of it. It sometimes has very simple crafts that the kids can do or projects to go along with their math assignments. So just depending on what it is, we take it or leave it. They are optional, but like this year, Silas made a chart for skip counting to help him learn multiplication, and Daisy made a chart for telling time and learning the difference between AM and PM, and they both had a lot of fun with that, and it was just a few dollars to pick up the supplies from the dollar store. And the last curriculum that I want to go over is handwriting without tears. Now, I believe that in a public school, Silas would be either on his last year or next year would be his last year of handwriting. I think that handwriting is generally stopped too quickly. I want my kids to have decent handwriting. So I don't know the names of the levels, but Daisy is in the orange book. And I'm not even completely sure if I use this right anymore. Sometimes, because they're both old enough that these curriculums don't use the chalkboard. If you're familiar with the mini chalkboard method, you can look it up, that they use in the earlier levels, they're not doing that anymore. They're really just writing on lines. And I have noticed their handwriting kind of starting to regress. So I think I might just bring the chalkboards back to help them get their letters really tall and straight again. But it's easy. It only takes like 5 minutes a day for them to do a couple pages. And they don't complain about it. And I do see a big difference in their handwriting. I want to say that there is 2 more levels after this one. This is the one Silas is in. And the last level is actually cursive. And I do intend to teach my kids cursive as well. So regardless of what grade they're in, this is another curriculum that I'm just going to have them go through all the levels to kind of see the author's vision through and see what the results will be. So that is everything that I have for my kids' core curriculum. Again, my son Silas is 9, my daughter Daisy is 7, and this is what has worked and produced amazing results for us. We also have group subjects that we do, and I just reviewed that in another video if you want to go back and watch it. It covers poetry, Bible, science, history, and geography, and how we do that just sitting down in a group and reading aloud every day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you next time. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, you'll want to be sure to check out my free video class, Homeschooling Excellent Time Management. I've linked it below, and I'll be giving away the 3 primary ways that I am able to homeschool consistently as a single working parent. It's only 11 minutes long. Be sure to view it. I'll see you next time.